Christina and I built this firm around one simple rule: work with those that you trust to be brilliant when it matters most. My name is Josh Floyd. I'm one of the attorneys here at Jimenez Floyd Family Law Firm. I'm board certified in family law. And here we have
Christina Jimenez, and I'm also board certified in family law.
Okay, and so today we're going to dive into something a little bit different, interesting here. Christina,
interesting here.
Yeah, so Christina had the easy task of coming up with a list of reasons I'm an exceptional attorney. I had to do some research, and I came up with some reasons why she is an exceptional attorney. And so we're gonna start it off. We're doing one for one. Is that we're going punch for punch?
Punch for punch.
Let's flow.
Okay.
All right.
So really quickly, and the reason why this topic kind of came up was because oftentimes we have clients who and other attorneys who will say, why should I hire Mr. Floyd? Like, should I trust him? Or why should I hire Ms. Jimenez? And is he a good lawyer? Tell me why he's a good lawyer. And Floyd and I don't really like give each other compliments very often. That's just like not our vibe. We just sort of like handle your business. Let's roll.
Right.
and we're typically extremely hard on one another. I'd say at least 5 times a week, one of us is calling the other and saying, hey, what the hell are you thinking here? Why did you do this? But I kind of feel like that's one of the things that makes this whole partnership thing work is because we hold each other accountable. But the reason why we're partners is because I think that we both think that the other is great. We just don't say it very often. So
yes,
we really struggle with it. But what I will say is when I'm talking to other people, never to Floyd, but when I'm talking to other people, one of the first things that I always lead with is that he is one of the hardest working people that I know. And so I will say that, when I always tell this story, I'm going to tell it again. But whenever he first came to interview with me, he didn't know anything about family law. He was all about criminal defense. He was going to be a criminal defense attorney. He had intern at a criminal defense attorney. And I needed a family law attorney because that's what I was doing. And I interviewed him. I asked him a bunch of family law questions. He didn't know crap. He begged for a second interview. A couple weeks later, he comes back in. And I'm like, okay, thanks for coming in. And he's like, aren't you going to ask me the questions? And so I asked him the questions, and he had studied and he knew a lot. And then that's when I knew, okay, like this guy's a hustler. He's going to put in the time. He's going to put in the work. And really, like, that's all I need from someone is somebody who's going to be a hard worker because I can teach them a bunch of stuff. And really, I won't have to because they're going to figure it out on their own. And that's exactly what he's done.
Okay, and so Christina, I think one of the things that makes her stand out is she sees the board, right? Everybody else is playing checkers, she's playing chess, right? I think she's 3 moves ahead, and fortunately, this is something that I think she's ingrained into me. Unfortunately, we see a lot of attorneys that don't think this way, right? But her ability to be 3 moves ahead, most of the time, sometimes we're playing catch up, but at least she tries to and sees it that way. I think that's one of the things that makes her great.
Yeah. And I mean, that's actually.
Oh, you agree with that, huh?
Well, yeah, I think
yeah,
pretty great. But no, that's the next thing that I was going to say about you is the fact that you are very strategic. And it's one of those things where sometimes he'll call me and he'll say, like, hey, I am thinking that this is going to be a particular issue in this case. And I'm like, crap, I didn't even think about that. I would have never thought about that. Right. And so I think that is definitely a strength that he has is that he's constantly looking at cases from this holistic perspective and not trying to focus on one little issue at a time, but thinking about how each issue is going to affect the other.
And I think that one of the ways that we handle cases, differently, this is probably better on your part, I guess, is that you're not as loud, I guess, right? You like strike quietly and strategically.
What does that mean?
So I'm more aggressive in the courtroom, right? Which sometimes gives me problems, right? You're like a snake, right? You're quiet, you slither.
It's supposed to be kind, Floyd. These are kind things. Being a
kind.
snake, it's not kind.
Or a spider, whatever it strikes quietly and strategically. Like they don't see you
ninja?
coming.
Can we be a ninja? Can I be a ninja? I'm a ninja.
You can be a ninja.
Okay, go ahead.
A ninja. So you strike quietly and strategically. They don't see it coming. Whereas with me, I'm more aggressive and that gets me into trouble. So I think you're ninja-like abilities.
Thank you, Floyd. Yeah, I would say that's definitely one of a big difference between you and I. And what's funny is many moons ago, I was probably the one that would, get a little bit more aggressive and riled up. But a little bit older now, so a little bit wiser. You'll get there one of these days. The next thing that I would say about Floyd is that he hates to lose. And it's not just for ego's sake. It is just he hates to lose. And he will spend hours and hours of, time researching and talking to other attorneys and bothering me with the most simple little details just because he's trying to figure out a way to not lose. And it kind of goes back to him being a hard worker, right? But he just he loses sleep over it. And I think you kind of have to have that in you to be a litigator and to be a great attorney. Is just this competitiveness that Floyd has.
And so another thing about Christina, which I probably can't ever pull off, but she knows when to fight and when to finesse, right? I don't have the finessing part of it, right? She can just get on the phone with opposing counsel and be like, so, this is what I'm thinking, right? And I probably can't pull it off. I know I can't pull it off. They would laugh at me if I did that. But she can talk her way into whatever it is that she needs. Whenever her client is in a bad strategic position, she just finesses her way out of it.
Yeah, you get more, what is it, bees with honey than with vinegar? I think that's the way to handle things.
I just don't have any honey yet.
You're a whole lot of vinegar all the time. The fourth thing about Floyd is that he genuinely cares about people, right? He genuinely cares about our clients. He really cares about our team. There's times when he cares for opposing counsel and for the opposing parties. He's really trying to do what he thinks is right in most cases, and that goes to a certain extent, right? Because if the case can't settle and the gloves have to come off, then he'll deal with that too. But I think going back to his ability to work very hard on these cases, it all comes from a place of him just really caring about people and their children and the outcome of our clients' cases.
Okay, so another thing is she reads people. I don't know how many times we've gotten this call hey, so they said blah, 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 and it was fine, but now I think about it, something's not settling right. My gut's telling me something's wrong. There's an ulterior motive. There's some strategic, what is it? What do they have? What are they doing? Right? Sometimes it's indigestion, but sometimes it's right? And it's something that had her gut, whatever that is, had not spoken to her, we would have found ourselves in a very bad spot later down the road. And so I think she just, I don't know, maybe the ninja senses.
I have a good intuition. I think I have I'm very intuitive. I can read people very well. So next thing about Mr. Floyd is that he leads by example. And that's, one of the things that I love is that he's never going to ask you to do something that he himself wouldn't do, right? And there have been many a moons where, he's up at 2 a.m. with a paralegal, helping them, push through discovery deadlines, or he's up at 4 a.m., going through exhibits and, just making sure that everything's prepped for a case. And he might ask a paralegal to be there with him or an associate attorney. But if he's asking somebody to do it, he's going to do it with them. So.
Well, and I was going to say the same thing about you, right? I think that she holds herself to a very high standard, the same that she does everybody at the firm. If she's up prepping, if she expects other people to be up prepping, she's up prepping with them, right? We kind of have this theme where we want to be the best firm, right? And it's not just, I want you guys to put in all the work so that we can be the best. She's putting in the work right there beside us. And excellence isn't optional, right? It's demanded. And I think that's what makes her great.
It's kind of like when someone asked me 3 weeks before the board application was due and said hey, I think I want to go ahead and be board certified. And I was like, okay. We have, I think it was 2 weeks actually. And so
it was
2 weeks and it's a 400-page application. And so I was like, let's roll. And we were up at freaking 4 a.m. We'd go to work all day, and then we were up until like 2 a.m. almost every single day, filling out this application. And this is what he puts me through. But we got it done, and he passed
But
the
there's supposed
test,
to be
and we
nice
were,
things.
okay,
Nice
yes.
things.
But we're in the trenches together.
Okay,
It's a
okay.
good story about
All
us
right.
being in the trenches. Oh, so I think my list kind of got mixed up here, but it says that you have a brilliant mind for strategy and
That should have been number
execution.
one. That should have been number one. For sure.
And it's a little bit repetitive, but going back to looking at big picture, you know, talking to different clients, talking to opposing counsel, and kind of putting everything together. This is something that after years and years, so you've been doing this, what, 12 years now?
13 years.
13 years. And it's not something that, you know, each one of us just had when, you know, we started practicing. It has been years and years of banging our heads up against the wall. But I do think that, you know, anytime I need help on strategy, I go to Floyd and say, hey, what do you think about this? And a lot of times he can help me figure things out.
A lot of times I'll tell her it's dumb, and then we'll come up with a good strategy. But together we make it work. So I'll say that, and I'm kind of on the fence about saying this, but I would say that she never like loses her center in the courtroom that you guys see, right? Prior to it, there's lots of late phone calls.
Lots of freak out sessions.
Yes, lots of freak out sessions. But once she gets in there, right? Once she's in it and it's okay, whatever happens, let's roll through it. She focuses on the evidence, focuses on the witnesses, and doesn't let that throw her off.
Yeah, very cool. So you bring intensity and heart into everything that you do. And sometimes the intensity needs to be tempered in the courtroom. But you definitely have a whole lot of heart. And again, going back to how you care, it is just, you wouldn't work as hard as you do. You wouldn't try as hard as you do. You wouldn't probably get as frustrated sometimes in court if you just didn't really care about what these people are doing. And when things were going wrong or people were doing wrong, you wouldn't get so emotional about it. There's been many times when I have had some phone calls after a hearing where, you know, he was pretty upset about some things that had been
I don't
said.
get emotional. Do not ruin my rep.
Yes, yeah, very, very emotional. And sometimes just heartbroken over certain things that have happened. So that's, you know, proof that he does have a little heart.
Do not ruin my reputation. So I'll say that Christina's good at building trust with the clients, with opposing counsels. I think why she's able to finesse herself into all this stuff. But I think she just comes off as compassionate, maybe because she is, but like it's easy for her to build trust with clients. Like whenever a client gets pissed off at me about something, even if I'm right, if they hear Christina say it, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it makes sense. I'm like, I told you the same thing 10 minutes ago, right? But she just has that way of finessing clients, right? And building that trust.
Well, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, Mr. Floyd. We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
And people don't know. What is it? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? And so sometimes I think maybe it's just that motherly instinct or something. But
Baby.
Next thing that I have for Mr. Floyd is that he is loyal and dependable. And he is definitely one of those people that if he tells you he's going to do something, it is going to get done. And I don't have to worry about it. I know that even if he has to, you know, work 50 hours to get it done and on the weekends and in the mornings, if he has to, you know, make other sacrifices in order to keep his word, he's going to do it. And he's also very dependable, right? I don't know that there's ever been a time where, you know, I've asked him to do something or he told me he's going to do something and he let me down. You know, and if something happened and he couldn't meet it, it was like, hey, here's how I'm going to make sure that this is resolved. And so I think it's very rare these days.
Okay. So another thing about Christina is she has credibility with the judges, with opposing counsels. She doesn't bluff. If she tells you she's going to do something or tells the opposing counsel, hey, I've got X, they know that when she walks into the courtroom, she's going to be presenting it, right? And so it makes it easier for me when I go up against those opposing counsels and I tell them I have X, right? They know we've got it, right? So her credibility with the courts, with the judges, with opposing counsels, with clients, right? I think is a great strength.
Well, and then next for you is that you are driven by excellence and not recognition, right? And it's one of kind of my big pet peeves with Mr. Floyd, because there's lots of times when he does accomplish these great tasks, right? Like he wins a really big jury trial, or he wins a final trial that we never thought we'd ever be able to win, or he becomes board certified in family law. And to me, these are huge, momentous, occasions that we need to be celebrating, that he needs to be celebrating on a personal note. And for him, it doesn't really matter, because it's about the excellence. It's about the win. It's about the task, the goal that needed to be accomplished, and the fact that he did it. And he didn't care if anybody knows about it. He just knows for himself, like, hey, I did this, and I did the best work that I possibly did, and I probably did something that nobody else would have been able to accomplish, and that's enough for him.
That's all you need, isn't it?
See, sometimes you need a party, is all I'm saying.
Never need a party. No. And then I guess last on the list here is.
This is so hard for you, isn't it?
So I would say she wins with integrity to the public. So she doesn't have like a big ego. She doesn't go flaunting around if she beats somebody in court. She's very disciplined, compassionate for clients. But then after she calls, and that's when she flaunts. Most of the time it's, you could have done this or whatever, right? See, I told you, this is how it's done, Floyd, right? Something like that.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
But for the most part, she keeps her ego.
I'm very humble, very, very humble. But listen, sometimes you got to pump yourself up and your team up, because we do great work. Absolutely. Okay, so the last thing for Mr. Floyd is that he makes everyone around him better. And I will speak from personal experience, and that is that he has helped me to grow, to evolve, to become the attorney that I am, to become the leader that I am. He just has this ability to just make people better. And I guess maybe it's his sarcasm and his wit. I don't know what it is, but our team really, really respects him. He pushes us all, like it's no nonsense. He expects that you're going to rise to the occasion. And when you don't, he's going to make sure he's going to call you to the carpet so that next time you do. And I think that that's just something that's very rare. And I think that's why I've chosen to make him a partner, and why we work so well together. So
Perfect. And now can we end this awkward video?
it's not awkward, Floyd. So here's the thing. It is important that when you are hiring an attorney, that you vet them, that you get to know them personally. You're going to get to know what makes them great, because this is going to be somebody that you're going to go through probably one of the most terrible experiences of your life with. And so if you're looking to hire an attorney, make sure that they have these values, right? Make sure that they have a team that trusts them, that they have a partner that trusts them, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what you need in order to find success in your family law case. And so thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure that you follow us on all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. If you live in Dallas, Tarrant, Ector, Midland, Denton County, then reach out to us. We have offices in each one of those counties, and we're here to help.